Good morning. Welcome to the Long Live Alternative Parties podcast. Free Press Media Press Inc., an alternative parties books publisher, sponsors this podcast. I'm Andrew Bouchard.
Welcome to the Long Live Alternative Parties podcast. Today, friends, we have another exciting guest on this podcast like we always do. He represents an alternative party, and he's running for office. I'm building the suspense up, so I'm going to give the mic over to the guest, and he's going to tell us his first and last name as well as the party he represents and the office he's running for. So kindly introduce yourself, dear guest.
Yes. My name is Girish Altekar. That is an Indian name, and if you did not quite catch that, I have a website called usdistrict37.com, which is the district I represent. It's for United States House of Representatives, Texas District 37.
Awesome. And what political party are you representing?
Oh, and yes, I'm a Libertarian. I've been a Libertarian pretty much all my political life, which is about 30 years since I became a naturalized American citizen.
Oh, wow. Awesome. So you think since you became a naturalized citizen, so you think the Libertarian Party is the most representative of all the good things of America, right?
That is correct. I do believe that. I think that nowhere else in the world is the primacy, the emphasis given to the individuals to do whatever it is that they want, as long as they don't affect the equal rights of others. So, which is the reason, in my opinion, why the United States has prospered, has become a powerful country. It is because individuals are able to pursue their dreams and pursue their life as they see fit without somebody else guiding them along the way.
Awesome. Okay, District 37. Would you kindly tell our audience some of the demographics of the area? Is it rural? Is it urban or rural? Is it big or small? What's the
Sure.
diversity of it?
Largely Austin, Texas.
Oh, okay.
So it is quite urban. It is also very democratic. It has been pretty much all of these districts in Central Texas are gerrymandered to one major party or the other. This one happens to be a Democrat Party incumbent, and he has been in this district, elected from this district for the last 30 plus years.
Oh, wow. 30 plus years.
Something like that, give or take. I don't quite know exactly how long, but a long time.
Yeah, it sounds like way too long. So kindly tell us what issues you are seeing for this office. What is your platform, and what do you want to present for the citizens when you represent them?
Yeah, the reason why I'm running is because running candidates for elections is the best way to present the libertarian alternative to Americans.
Sure.
It may not be sufficient, but it certainly is necessary in my opinion.
Okay.
And so the libertarian alternative, which says that individuals should be allowed and enabled and empowered to pursue their lives as they see fit, as long as they don't deprive others of the same equal rights. So that is sort of the alternative, and my belief is the platform that I'm running on is that of economic libertarianism, which is, I'm not sure that there is a formal definition of that, but it refers to the fact that if we allow individuals to pursue economic activity on their own without coercion, then good things will happen. They'll earn income, wealth, the society will be freer and free of coercion and rancor and hatred that we see today, as opposed to something that is as opposed to a society that is coerced from all sides by the major parties.
Okay. That sounds good. That we want to go in that direction. So what are the concerns of, since you're representing Austin, and that's where I live, folks, what are the major concerns you see for the city of Austin? What are the problems Austin is facing, and how can you solve them with the Libertarian Party belief system?
Right. My concerns are not specific to Austin. Austin is
Okay.
a fairly prosperous city. There's a lot of technology and a lot of government and a lot of business. So it's quite an active city. The issue is whether it could be better, and the issue is all of Texas could be better, or whether all of our entire country could be better. And that's where sort of I'm focused on, is if we constrain our citizens with specific things, our economy will get better and will get better across the country in a much more harmonious way.
Okay. Sounds good. So, are you on the ballot already? Did you already jump that hurdle, or are you still in the process of getting on the ballot?
No, I will be on the ballot.
Okay. If I remember correctly, the Libertarian Party, as party as a whole, they got state ballot access. Is that correct?
Yes. The Libertarian Party has ballot access, I think, in 50 states in the November election.
Okay.
So I think the Libertarian Party should be good for local, state, and federal candidates.
Okay, so that's one worry you don't have to bother with, is getting ballot access signatures.
That's correct.
Oh, good. So that means you can focus all the more on the campaign, like they say. So how are you reaching the voters in Austin? Are you going door to door, or are you using social media, or is there some other way? How are you reaching the voters for this election?
Yeah. So the idea, of course, is to use all of that as much as possible. I don't have a very large campaign going, but I intend to go to the different groups that may even be monitored, but at least letting people know that, hey, I did for Congress from Austin, I'm a libertarian, and if basically give them the gist of my message and say, hey, if these ideas resonate with you, come visit my website or give me a call or send me an email and we can talk. So that's sort of number one. But outside of that, I plan to visit various congregations, whether there are lots of festivals in Austin, as you know about, so I intend to walk them with my business card or buy a booth if they'll allow that, and basically do the same. Talk to as many citizens as I can, and let them know about alternatives that exist. One of the best things we can do, I think, in Austin is at least, which is the sort of one of the most effective ones, is to ask friends, families, interested people, colleagues, or just anybody who's interested to put a yard sign in their yard. So the yard signs are the way people might notice you, they might come to your website, and that I think should be a much more effective way to get to the voters, to get them to interested in your message, and so be able to come to the website and learn more about us and the Libertarians.
Sounds good. So when you're speaking to people through social media and or in person, what are the people you're meeting saying? What are they telling you?
You know, the issue today, at least in my opinion, is that we have been so polarized that it is us, if I don't win, I lose kind of a mentality, that kind of a zero-sum game.
Sure.
And it's really unfortunate, but that is what we have to break through, that the world will not end if your candidate loses. It never does. And
Okay.
and you know, when you give libertarians your vote, you're not voting against something, you're voting for something.
Sure.
And so those are sort of the people are really polarized. They don't want to do anything that will make their candidate lose in the election, even if they do not fully agree with them at all, even
Yep.
if they don't agree with the principles, because they're more afraid of what the other guy is going to do to you.
Yep.
So it's a difficult place for us to be, but it's a long game. So we will continue playing that game, and eventually we think people will realize that that liberty and freedom bring its own benefit, and not just in terms of economic freedoms, but also the side benefits of being a wealthier, more prosperous country is that we don't have to fear others as much.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. I liked how you said that if your candidate loses, the world is not going to end. When we support alternative parties, a lot of people like to tell us if we don't vote for such and such, it's going to be over. I remember back when Bush was the candidate, everyone was saying anyone but Bush. He's so bad. We got to have anyone but Bush. And then now people are saying that with Trump, and they've been saying that before Bush and before Trump. So I like how you put that, and it is true. Bush got elected, and the world didn't end. Now we don't want to minimize the harm that candidates can do, because Bush was a warmonger and he killed people. Yet at the same time, the entire world didn't end. So your point is well taken.
Yeah, and that's correct, because I actually, my personal opinion is that W was one of the worst presidents we've had because of all the subsequent wars. We've sent trillions of dollars just imagine.
Okay, sorry about that. The EMS thing went by. Okay, so you're saying he's trillions of dollars?
Yeah, I mean, we have spent something like $10-12 trillion between the Iraq and Afghan wars. And had we not done that, our current deficit, which is about $32 trillion, would not be 32. It would be, presumably, I mean, assuming that Congress didn't spend it on something else, it would be less than half that. So I think that it started with George W. Bush. I never liked him as a president. And Trump is certainly awful. But the presidents in between are also, nothing to write home about. Today, the Democrats are raising, in their latest budget, they are going to increase the debt, not spend, increase in the next 10 years, 16 trillion. So the debt, 2 trillion, to be around 50 trillion in the next 10 years. These things are not sustainable, and they, with a plain face, without any irony, will call it fiscal restraint. The only reason these things are possible is because we have a complicit voter base that says, oh, it's the other guy, not my guy who's doing this, and they're wrong about it. So we just have to keep pointing it out.
Okay. So you see people are getting acclimated to it, and then they're being apathetic. So apathetic about what's happening, yet they're polarized about what some call the horse race. So that's interesting how you describe that.
Well, I would, I don't, I'm not a social scientist, so I don't know exactly why, but there are some wedge issues, which, by the way, are created solely for this purpose, some wedge issues that are very, very, very important to them.
Yeah.
Whether it be abortion or, immigration or whatever. These bogey issues have been created to make sure that the voters are cornered into a place where they say, hey, I don't vote for my guy, this bad thing is going to happen, and I don't want that bad thing to happen. Yeah, fine, the economy is going to kill us in the next 15, 20, 30 years. Our kids' lives are going to be hell, if they at all think this way, by the way. Our kids and grandkids' lives will be hell in 30, 40, 50 years. But right now, this is the most important issue. It is nonsense, in my opinion. But that's how we sort of frame the questions in front of us these days. At least that's what I think. So we have to say, oh, the long-term health is important, much more important than whatever is going on in the next 2 years, for example. Let's just say that.
Sure.
So, everything is important, but the world is not going to come to an end.
That's a good way to put it. No one's ever quite said it that way, so I appreciate that way of framing the matter. So are you...
Thank you.
Sure, yeah. It's a great way to put it. It's a great perspective builder, because a lot of people, nobody's saying that, but a lot of people are feeling like the world's going to end, but it's not. Probably not.
Yeah.
So do you have a team that's helping you with the campaign, or is this something you feel better to do all by yourself?
Oh, I don't have that kind of resources. I'm spending mostly my money on it.
Okay.
I have a few friends and acquaintances who are backing me up, but these funds are going to go towards making of paraphernalia, the yard signs, the
Okay.
flyers, the mailers, things like that. We'll spend all the money, but that's where it's going to go. And we don't have deep-pocketed backers like Doggett does. I mean, the incumbent spends around $20, $30 a vote that he gets and has the ability to do so. We just don't.
Oh, sure. Now, we sometimes when I interview people, they don't want to talk about their opponents, and sometimes people don't mind talking about their opponents. So would you like to briefly address them, or is that something you're not comfortable doing?
No, I don't have anything to say about Lloyd Doggett. I'm not running a negative campaign. I'm mostly running a positive campaign about what libertarianism is about. I do know that, the one good thing I'll say about Lloyd Doggett is he has been anti-war. So I'm not saying he's all bad, but I think his economic policies, I don't know whether they are his economic policies or whether he rubber stamps whatever comes through the White House or in the Congress, but those are not conducive for future progress. And so my goal is to present the libertarian alternative and say we have better ideas for this. And so that's what I'm doing. That's about all I need to say about Lloyd Doggett.
Okay, fair enough. So how can our audience, whether they are in Austin, Texas, or elsewhere, how can they support your campaign?
The goal of our campaign is to keep putting our ideas out.
Okay.
And if there is an audience out there within Austin, in small dollar amounts, you're not asking for a whole lot, it'll buy next that we can put somewhere else, and the next yard sign, or the next, are the biggest ways in which they can help other than just saying, hey, giving a shout out and saying thanks for doing a job that we appreciate and we'll support you in November.
Okay. So if they want to donate, do you have a website, or are you doing it through a fundraising platform, how can they support you financially if they want to?
Yeah. So my campaign website is girishaltekar.com, and because people are not familiar with my last name, I have another URL called usdistrict37.com. Both of them go to the same place. Whichever one you remember is fine. They're not two different websites. They're just two different URLs going to the same place, girishaltekar.com and usdistrict37.com. And there is the small political quiz, Libertarian political quiz on that website. And I recommend that people take that quiz. It takes about 1 minute to do so, and they learn. They might even surprise themselves about where they stand from simply a label point of view, whether you're a conservative or a liberal or left.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah, I took that years ago, so that's a good, he's right, friends, that's a good test to take.
So there's a donate page on the website, and you can just click it and help us out.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. So we thank you for coming on the podcast today and talking about your campaign. We appreciate hearing your perspective on the political environment as well as what you're planning to do to make it better.
Well, thank you so much.
We wish you all the best in your campaign as well as everything else you do in your personal and professional life.
Great. Thank you. You too.
All right. Take care and all the best.
Bye-bye.